As you guys know, Charlamagne gave Roland Martin Donkey of the Day. And you know Roland Martin was going to clap back. But I was very surprised because Roland Martin didn't really go in on Charlamagne. He just basically hit him with the facts. And he actually pulled out some receipts because he's had this conversation with Charlamagne about putting misinformation or thinking that he's factual on things that he knows nothing about. Let's be honest. People like Charlamagne and Stephen A. Smith are very dangerous because basically they will get platformed over Roland Martin, where Roland tries to be factual, and then you have like Stephen A. Smith and Charlamagne that are and looking for things to get booked on their next show. Let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, so we in for a long one. So go ahead and get you a drink, get you something to sip, eat, whatever. Let's get to it, y'all.
Exception to something that I say or that I write. Today on The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne took exception to a segment we did last week where two panelists said that he speaks or provides misinformation. And so he made a whole bunch of comments, some personal attacks. And let me be real clear. I don't give a damn what you say about my weight. I don't give a damn what you say about my neck. I don't give a damn what you say about my hairline. I don't give a damn about none of that.
He called him Rotund Martin. So yeah, he was going there.
And the reason I don't give a damn about none of that, because none of that shit matters. See, I am speaking to and addressing and confronting larger issues at play that have a profound and significant impact on our community. And see, I'm absolutely unbothered if someone says, "Oh, you're a Democrat shield, and you doing this and that and the other for the Democrats." No, because see, I'm real clear. I stand up for black people. I stand up for black people on the local level, the state level, the national level, international level. I fight on behalf of black people. I've worked in black-owned media, not black-targeted media. iHeartRadio owns The Breakfast Club. That's black-targeted. That's not black-owned. So I've worked.
Woo! That was a bar right there because, again, BET, black-targeted, not black bullshit. BET is on some other stuff. I don't even know if it's black-targeted, but, again, not black-owned. Black targeted. It's a totally difference. Basically, people like Charlamagne are being controlled by the man, and he doesn't own what he. Man, let me not even get into that conversation, but y'all know what it is. Puppeteers.
Worked on black-owned media since 1990. That's 35 years. I'll be 57 on Friday. That's 35 years. See, when I was at CNN, I was with TV One. I was with WVON Radio in Chicago. And then later, during the Tom Joyner Morning Show. So when you ride for black people, then you are clear in what your focus, your mission, and your agenda is. And you see, for me, my mission is I stand on truth and facts. Max Robinson, the first black network news anchor, ABC, was dying of AIDS. In 1988, he was addressing some Howard University students and alumni. He said to them, "Never ever lose your integrity or your credibility, because in the end, that's all you've got." Chris Metzler, God rest his soul. Chris was a black Republican, black conservative. And Chris and I used to always laugh and talk because a lot of these Republicans, well, man, Chris, I see you go on Roland's show, and I don't understand. When you go on Roland's show, he don't yell at you. He don't interrupt you. Chris said, "Because I don't lie like y'all." He said, "You fools come on Roland's show lying, And I ain't stupid. He said, if I come on Roland's show and I start lying, he gonna jack me up too. Why? Because I operate in facts. I believe that what our people, not just our people, meaning really all people, what our people need are relevant, factual, credible sources of information that they can trust explicitly. In fact, that's interesting. I was going.
So let me just say why this is very important. Because again, you have somebody like Charlamagne or Stephen A. Smith who get platform and they don't have to be factual. They just say whatever. And again, they're getting booked as the Democrat or the left-leaning voice, but really they can care less about left or right. They claim to be independent, right? But they don't have to be factual. And in a space where we are right now, because the right wing, they own this whole digital space as far as YouTube, podcasts, they own it. They own it. Like, yeah, there are some liberal, like Midas Touch and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's all red. It's all red. Hardly any blue, all red, right? And so with that being said, we know that they kind of own this space. And so where they don't have to be factual, they don't have to be right. People love listening to them no matter what. But when you get a few big left-leaning platforms that can actually break through that red wall, it's very important to be factual and be the other side of that voice. You know what I mean? So this is why it's very important.
Through a few text messages. Between Charlamagne and I over the years. September 1st, 2024. I always go hard for the truth and facts, whether white or black. And this is why I tell black folks to pick credible black-owned media. I simply can't sacrifice the truth for anyone. I've been in journalism since I was 14. Nothing has changed in 41 years. I also said, I'm not hard on us, I'm hard on facts. And what I don't like is when people spew things that are not factual, and then others take it to believe it is true. That has been the case for my entire career. I also said, I don't argue online. As a journalist, I provide facts. You see, we all can have opinions. But even when the context of a debate and one is offering their opinion, it needs to be a factual opinion. It needs to be one that's rooted in truth. Because the general public does not necessarily distinguish between who's a journalist and who's not. Who's a journalist and who's a DJ. Who's a journalist, who's a shock jock. Who's a journalist and who's a radio host. Who's a journalist, who's a podcaster. Who's a journalist and who has a digital show. Because see, the public just sees all media. But there are clear distinctions in terms of our roles and responsibilities. And I thought about that when I saw, because I landed in Bermuda, and all these text messages and whatever, and people hit me up, said, oh, did you see it? No, I didn't. I was literally in the air. And then as folks would hit me up, and I got phone calls from people, and I was quite amused by it all, because it's not like it's new to anyone where I stand on facts. In fact, as I was thinking about it, and people were like, man, you should say this, you should respond this, you should respond this, you should respond this. I said, and I thought about it, no, I'm not going to do any of that. Then there were people who were like, oh, he should come on your show. You should go on his show. I thought about, because all back and forth, and, there was stuff. Oh, he begs to come on the Breakfast Club, which is not true. Sent 2 texts this year, one last year, one 2023. And when I go to New York, I actually text about 10 people, 10 shows. So it could be the Breakfast Club, it could be Ebro, it could be Sway, it could be John.
So for those of you who didn't see what Charlamagne said, he basically said that, oh, he's always calling me, he always want to come on the show, blah, blah, blah. So now Roland is clarifying, when I'm in New York, I'm out doing media. And so, yeah, I let people know that I'm in town, which makes a lot of sense. Like, whenever I go somewhere and people want to collab and stuff like that, I'll be like, all right, well, I'm in town from this time to this time, you know, I'm gonna let you know. So yeah, typically people do that, but the way that Charlamagne put it is like Roland's like, oh, please let me on your show, please, son, please let me on your, and it's not like that at all.
Future gang, it could be people at SiriusXM. So let's just be real clear, y'all. I do media all over. I don't beg anybody's show to come on. I was on Ricky Smiley's show and Dee Dee's show last week. So ain't no begging. I literally tell people, hey, I'm coming to town. So there you go. Just like people do the same thing to me. So as I was sitting here watching people say what should happen and y'all should do this and that, I actually thought about this very issue of when I went on the Breakfast Club 3 years ago. Listen.
Transition into politics. I hope y'all understand that the same workings for like celebrity gossip is the same that works for politics. You have to actually go get the real information. I even tell y'all ain't got to believe what I say. Go look it up yourself. But literally, you have people that will, in the celebrity world, just make up shit and just say things for clicks and views. Same with politics. Just make up shit and say things for clicks and views. Because at the end of the day, you want money. You want people to click whatever TV, radio, YouTube you want them to click on or be interested in whatever you're saying, so then they can get ad revenue. And yeah, it's a money game. Who cares about being accurate? They care about what's in their bank account, right? So to come find out, like the number was only like 100 and something, and like not all those people were Black. Like it wasn't even broken down by any kind of racial demographic or anything like that. It was like 112 or 13, a very low in 2019, like when she was originally running for president before she became VP.
See, I hope y'all understood what I was laying out there. It's not enough to say, well, I'm just asking questions. But if your question is rooted in wrong information, then you've actually weaponized the wrong information. And now it goes out to the public. Let me, I want people to understand. I really need you to understand this. When you have a microphone, and it could be this microphone I'm wearing, it could be anything. It could be written word, it could be your social media, it could be anything. There are people who are going to entrust in you, even if they never even talk to you, that he gonna give me the right information. So if you, because they are thinking, well, wait a minute, you bigger, you more knowledgeable, you know more things than I do, so therefore I'm trusting that what you are saying to me is correct. So what then happens is you say something, or a guest says something that's not correct, and then it's not corrected. So therefore the person listening goes, that must be right. So they then take what you just said or heard and go repeat it to somebody else. And they say, well, I heard it on the Breakfast Club. I heard it on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I heard it on Native Land Pod. I heard it on Contraband Camp. I heard it. Y'all see how that happens? So they are assigning credibility to you based upon what they heard, which is why those of us sitting behind the mic or the keyboard must be mindful of what comes into our minds, process, comes out of our mouth, and then spoken into the microphone, because once it hits that microphone, you can no longer control it.
He's right about that. He's definitely right about that. Like, I think about what I say before I just spew it out my mouth. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, you guys are watching me, and you guys are people who work everyday normal jobs, right? Y'all got time to go research something or look up something. I'm clicking on your video and I'm watching you because I'm trusting that what you say is the truth. You know, I'm trusting you that you did the research. Since this is your job, I'm trusting you that you did the research. People like Charlamagne don't do any research. People like Stephen A. Smith don't do any research. However, they are echoed. Whatever they say is echoed. And let's be real about something. A lie is sexier than the truth, right?
You can't control it. So for me, When I hit it, I want you to have clarity. I don't want to come back to say, I should have explained it better.
He did say
that. And again, I just want people to understand. See, this is not, man, you attacking them. No, that's not what it is. It is an absolute pursuit of truth, which is how I define myself as a journalist. Because I have too much respect for this microphone, and I have too much respect for the audience, to be given something that's half correct. And again, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm just going to give y'all an example. Today, again, in that 20-minute discussion that Charlamagne had, and again, this is not tearing down. I'm just stating what happens when a basic statement is made, and maybe you're not thinking about what you're saying that's actually wrong. Charlamagne was quoting Bishop William Barber, talking about the big ugly bill. And he said when the bill passed, quote, Democrats failed to expand the tax credits. I want y'all to hear what I just said. Charlamagne said Democrats failed to expand the tax credits. Here's the problem. They didn't have the power. Republicans control the House. They control whether a bill comes to the floor. They have the votes. Republicans control the Senate. Now, some of y'all watching right now, see, I'm about to explain to y'all politics. Some of y'all watching right now are going, I don't understand. They needed 8 Democrats, but the filibuster. Yes, because the big ugly bill was passed through a process called reconciliation.
Yes, that's how a lot of things get passed when they don't have a majority vote. They'll do a reconciliation. And so with the reconciliation, they can just put it through. This is why they can put through that bill. Every time they want to do the tax cuts, just like last time Trump was in office, they pass it through doing that because they know that is extremely unpopular to give tax cuts to the rich with the Democrats. So they pass it with the Republicans because, we don't want to do that. So we'll do the next bill with, the filibuster and everything like that, something more favorable or something that they can have a debate or discussion on. Them trying to pass through those tax rates, they know that would never go through. So again, very strategic. But like he was saying, they didn't need the Democrats. That's why. And so now that they had the ball in their court and they had the power and influence to be able, and not influence, but the leverage to be all like, hey, we're not putting this shit through until y'all give us this, that, and that, and this. They threw their hands up and they gave up. This is why people are pissed at the Democrats. And it's not a guarantee that they will win the midterms. It's not a guarantee. Like, people are going to be even more disgusted with politicians, with politics, where they're not even going to give a damn about voting. This is what's going to happen.
Uh-oh. The reconciliation process does not require 60 votes. The reconciliation process only requires a simple majority. Do y'all know how the Affordable Care Act got passed? Through reconciliation. Yeah. See, these are the arcane things in politics that I don't expect the average person to know. My job is to explain to the people these arcane things and make it simple for them. So there are some bills that pass the Senate by unanimous consent, meaning I move they pass it by unanimous consent. Okay, empty chamber. It's a post office, whatever. So remember that Charlie Kirk, day? That's how that thing was passed. People like, well, the Democrats didn't vote on it. Weren't even in the chamber. Should have been one objecting. Rand Paul did that when it came to the June. See, y'all got to remember, Juneteenth. Senator Rand Paul, the reason Juneteenth didn't become federal law when Trump was there the first time, because Senator Rand Paul objected to it being passed by unanimous consent. Mm. So you can have 1 or 2 senators in the entire chamber, and they could pass a bill by unanimous consent and don't require all 100 showing up. That's one way you pass a bill. Another way you pass a bill, the reconciliation process, which has some rules there, what you can and cannot do. The Senate parliamentarian has a rule on it. That's literally what the big ugly bill, how it was passed, by simple majority. The continuing resolution, that required 60 votes. Those are details. Those are nuances. but I still believe they have to be explained. So it's incorrect for Charlamagne to say, quote, Democrats failed to expand the tax credits. How could they fail to expand it when they didn't have the power? Republicans did. So should the statement have actually said the GOP cut the subsidies? The GOP cut the tax credits. See, y'all missed that. Y'all missed that.
Phrasing is everything. The way you phrase something can tell you, you know, how something is going to go or how it's going to turn out. I like how he put that. I might not always agree with Roland Martin, but one thing that I do appreciate about Roland is that I learn. I might not agree with whatever he says, but I learn. With Charlamagne, I don't learn shit. You know, I know how to sniff butts and chairs. That's what Charlamagne can do. That's an actual quote. He said that he likes to sniff the chairs after the female guests leave. He said that. Don't forget that. So know where you're getting your news from, right? I
want to walk y'all through very basic understanding language. If the phrase is Democrats failed to expand the tax credits, that means that you are assigning blame for the tax credits expiring on the Democrats because they failed to expand the tax credits. But if the language is the GOP cut the tax credits, that's the appropriate language. Why? Because they control the House, control the Senate, control the White House. So just that one line right there completely changes the context of the conversation, which is why words matter, why language matters, and why we can't be reckless or lazy with how we construct words, because you can change the context of a discussion by changing the words.
Boom. Perfectly put. Again, Charlamagne, I don't like how he'll just basically feel like, oh yeah, because I got a larger platform, I can say whatever and I don't give a damn, you know, it's this or that. And you know, he feels that, okay, well, why do I have to explain shit? Why do I have to say anything? Or why do I have to give context to things? I should just be able to say whatever and there shouldn't be no backlash to it. And it's all like, no, if you want to be in this space, and people like Roland Martin, who's been doing this for, he said 35 years now, like, you have to have some kind of respect and you have to know what you're talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Just like when he did the whole donkey of the day, he was reading on his computer. I bet you something like a producer came and gave him those notes. Not that he knew what he was saying. Someone gave him those notes to say about Roland Martin and stuff like that. He didn't know that for himself. Like me, I'm going off the brain. Like if there's something like a percentage or something like I need to be factual, I will look that up. But for the most part, whenever I'm talking, I know what I'm saying. If I don't, I will tell you guys, I don't really know. I'm going to look into that later. But I'm not getting on here saying that I know everything or I'm a genius or anything like that. I'm just trying to give y'all information and make it palatable so y'all can easily digest it. That's the only thing I can do. And hopefully y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm pretty sure this war, or the war of words, I should say, is going to go on a little bit longer. So I'm interested to see what happens. But I love y'all for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Deuces, everybody. We out.